talking about ETN's presence, and I guess I would ask you, what does it bring to have a running back of that caliber in the backfield in terms of another weapon, how you might use him?
I mean, yeah, it always helps to have a good running back where you feel comfortable, turning your back to the defense, handing it off. Obviously, we saw what he was able to do at Florida, and I mean, we're really happy to have him, and he's been working really hard, and excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, Carson, obviously returning for your second year as a starter here. Had a really good year last year. Curious what your thoughts are on the areas of improvement you need to make this offseason.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just continuously, building my confidence level, and then working through reads faster, and then knowing when I can take the big shot, and then when I need to check it down and play it safe. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And going back and watching film from this past year and watching all the games over, those are a few areas that I can really improve on.
To your left, man. What's the definition for you of a successful spring for a team?
For me, like I just said, working on the things that I need to improve on, and then overall as a team, I think just building that bond, with some of these new guys that just came in, and then obviously continuing, the chemistry with the guys that have already been here. And I think that works for both offense and defense, just kind of building that mesh on how well we all play together. We haven't practiced in 2 months, so it'll be fun to get back out there. I'm excited for it.
Carson, how different does this spring feel for you compared to last year when you came in trying to fight for this job, and now this time around being the returning starter? Just what's the biggest differences for you?
Yeah, I mean, that is the difference. Is that last year, I was coming in and wasn't sure if I was going to be the starter or not. I was competing with Brock and Gunner at the time, and now coming back, having been the starter, I can kind of hone in and focus more on what I need to improve on compared to just trying to compete against other guys. I can really focus on competing against myself. So.
Carson, for you, what's the biggest thing that you hope the new guys get out of the spring, and what's your biggest message to them just to be confident coming into this program?
Everyone has to go through it. It's going to be a whirlwind, and a lot of them have a long way to go. But that's a good thing. They're going to constantly improve as the years go by. Spring's a super fun time because we really get the chance to focus on ourselves and focus on the team compared to preparing for an opponent. So all the young guys just go out there and have fun and enjoy it. It's a process we all have to go through. So.
Yeah, Carson, Kirby said you've been maybe asserting yourself as a leader more over the past few days since y'all have been back. I guess, one, what is your thought process when it comes to that? And two, like George said, how much more comfortable do you feel doing that, knowing you're the unquestioned starter at quarterback?
Yeah, I'm super comfortable, leading and talking and kind of guiding guys in the right direction because I've done it, and I think that people respect me now that I have done it, and I think that was kind of the thing that held me back maybe from being a little more vocal last year or being a bigger leader last year because I hadn't really done it yet. So now that I kind of have a year under my belt and I think that guys look at me and respect me, it's a lot easier to, maybe tell someone to do something or, try to guide them the right way.
Carson, can you kind of walk us through the way you went about evaluating as you made that decision to come back and how you're feeling about that decision now?
Yeah, obviously we had a really good year. I feel like obviously our goal is always to win it all, and as it should be for every program. But obviously we didn't achieve that goal. So coming back obviously with that same mindset, and because we didn't reach that goal, that definitely led to it. And then obviously just the connection piece that we have here at Georgia, the relationship I have with the coaches, the relationship I have with the players, it all just came to me making the decision to come back and wanted to do that for another year.
Carson, what's your comfort level of the newcomers at the skill positions on offense? How much time have you had on the field, just getting to know them and their tendencies on the field?
Yeah, we've been able to work a little bit over this offseason, January, February. Obviously not any full practices, but, I'm super excited to, see these young guys and then some of these transfers and see what they're able to do and, constantly work and start to build that chemistry.
Somebody had to ask it, so it might as well be me. Obviously, it was a pretty high-profile thing when you got the Lamborghini. Are you comfortable with saying whether buy, lease, and just obviously that comes with sort of some, I don't know, some kind of a something you have to live up to. I don't know. I don't know what you would call. You tell me. How did that come down, and then what's it like? I've never ridden in it.
I mean, yeah. So I've always been a car guy since I'm not even a car guy. I mean, since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up, always loving cars. My dream car when I was super, super young was always a Mustang. I've never actually had a Mustang, but I kind of grew out of it when I was like 14, 15. But no, I've always been a huge car guy. So, growing into that and like being able to associate myself with that brand and such a large, brand name, being able to get that car, obviously it's a blessing. But I mean, being able to associate myself, get that car, I mean, it's been awesome. So, yeah.
Thanks.
What is it about cars that makes you a car guy?
The engine. I don't know. There's just something about like pulling out of the driveway, hearing just like a well-built engine, the exhaust. I don't know how to explain it. It puts a smile on my face.
A completely separate follow-up. How has your relationship with Mike Bobo evolved as you guys both move into year 2 in your roles?
Yeah, I think we've always had a really good relationship, and I think now going into year 2, we better comprehend each other, the way, I work, what makes me tick, what makes him tick, how he works, the things he likes, the things I like. So as, we start to figure those things out, which, I mean, we kind of have now, last year was kind of us figuring it out. This year we know, and we'll be able to mesh better, and I think it'll obviously lead to a better outcome as well.
Back on the Lambo, were you surprised by some of the reaction? Were you seeing some of the reaction? Did you want to kind of show people like, hey, this is not distracting me or anything?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal at all in my opinion. Like I said, I love cars. I got a car. That's really all it is. I mean, obviously a lot of people are going to look at it and say, what a terrible decision, what a terrible, choice with his money. But it's just a car at the end of the day. It's not too big of a deal. I just drive it around.
No Ferrari then?
Oh, I love Ferraris too. Maybe one day, but not right now.
You kind of touched on this. Does it give you, you came back last year, you said a goal was to kind of keep it going. There's round 2, you wanted to prove that you could, this team could keep winning. Came up just short. Does that give you touched on it a little bit, to give you a little extra motivation coming into this year? You said it kind of played into your decision to come back. What would it mean to you to be able to hold a championship trophy at the end of your career?
I mean, it would mean everything to me. I mean, that's always been my goal individually as a player, and it's always a team goal. Like I said, it did have some decision on last year, but every year is a new year, and that goal is always going to stay the same. Regardless of what's going to happen the year before. So I think as a team, we're set on this year. It's going to be a totally new team, new players, new faces that we're going to see out there on the field. But it's always going to be the same goal, regardless.
So you're obviously undergoing a lot of transition. We talked about the skilled players, but you also have a new center that you're going to be working with, Jared Wilson. What is that kind of? Obviously, you've worked with him in the past. What is it? Are you excited to be able to work with him in a full-time role? And how much have you guys kind of worked together as that that center quarterback connection going further?
Yeah, I mean, he got some reps last year. Played in some games and some big time games. Got good reps in practice, but being able to work with him this year and then going into spring ball will really be the first time that we really get to work together and kind of see what he's really able to do. I'm super excited. He's a really athletic guy. I mean, it's insane some of the things that he's able to do, but super excited to see what he's able to do and have a lot of confidence in him. So.
Carson, what can you tell us, maybe skill-wise and personality-wise, about your 3 new transfer wide receivers? We haven't seen them, we haven't been able to cover them before, so we're trying to get some insight into what those guys are like personally and what they bring to the team.
Yeah, I mean, they're all really good kids. I mean, they wouldn't be here if they weren't. But super excited to, start to get to work with them. I mean, the very little that I've been able to work with them, I'm very excited what they bring to the table, very confident what they're able to do. Obviously, as we go into spring ball and then summer and fall camp into the season, we'll be able to kind of dissect that a little more. But I'm excited that, those guys are here.
Have time for a couple more questions.
Hey Carson, we heard Tate poke a little fun at you in his podcast about your mobility. Can you talk about that increase in mobility in this offseason, what we might see this next year? And then also, we've really seen you light it up at Pro Day when these scouts come, and I know you got some more receivers that are going out into the NFL. I mean, you're kind of being viewed as maybe a top 5 pick next year. Is Is that a big day for you tomorrow too, to throw to your guys?
I won't be throwing tomorrow. But speaking of Tate, yeah, no, I mean, that's probably my best friend on the team. We lived together as freshmen and then sophomore, and then we lived again together this past year. But he always cracks on me and jokes with me, and I do the same exact thing to him. Not as much as him to me, but
What do you give him trouble about? We've heard his story.
I don't really give him too much trouble. He's a little bigger than me, so if I give him too much trouble, he might take me down. So, but no, I'm super excited about this season, and you know the things that could be as a result of the season as well. So.
Carson, what are your thoughts on the new helmet communication? What does it mean for you as a quarterback to be able to communicate to the sideline and the coaches, during the game and practice?
I'm actually very interested to see how that's going to change, because for us, we're really a no-huddle offense. We don't huddle very much. So how does that change into the communication to the wide receivers, the offensive line? Are we still going to have to signal and all that type of stuff? Hopefully it's just me and Bobo in the communication, because I don't need to hear everybody else yelling and chirping in my ear while I'm trying to listen to the play. But no, I'm actually interested to see how that'll work and how that'll change offenses in college.
And just to follow up on that, the way you process defenses, would you think it'd be advantageous or something you got to figure out if someone's in your ear, and they're calling from above, hey, check out this formation? Or what? Advantageous, think you can hurt, or is that something you just got to figure out the long way?
That's actually a good thing to think about, and I think it'll be something that we kind of figure out as the time goes. Because I've never experienced it before. Someone in my ear that has the full view, and I'm pretty sure I'm not sure how it works, but I'm pretty sure that it gets cut off after a certain amount of time. But it could be used as just a little input on a certain reminder about a play or something like that. But
for the way you process it, could it be information overload?
No, I don't think so. I feel like for me, I can handle a lot mentally as far as football goes, so that should be good.
All right, thank you, Carson.
Thanks, Carson.